Family, how I landed my second six-figure role is proof that sometimes it's not what you know, it's about who you know. And before people get weird in the comments, no, it's not about favoritism. This is about reputation, okay? Work ethic and professionalism and how people experience you when you're inside organizations. Now, my prior six-figure contract role, my title was a project coordinator. But if we're being real, the role felt more like an executive assistant position. I was sending meeting notes to the VP, setting up his calls, hopping into meetings, assisting where needed. And the VP I supported, busy. Like restricted all-day meetings, back-to-back calls, executive level busy. So sometimes I genuinely did not have much work to do at all. Now, when my contract started getting close to ending, he gave me a 6-week notice. He told me if there are any open roles in the company, I'll share your name. Now, if you worked in corporate before, you know people say things like this all the time. So I'm thinking, okay, that sounds nice. But once the contract ended, it was time for me to move on. So a few months later, that same talent acquisition analyst from my first six-figure role reaches back out to me again with another opportunity, same company. Now, this is where things got interesting because the manager I'd potentially be working for reported to someone who reported to the VP that I previously worked with. So I already knew one thing. My name had already probably traveled before I got there. And depending on that reputation of yours, okay, that can either help you or it can absolutely destroy you. Now, one thing about me, Angelique, I was prepared for this interview. Meeting notes ready, professional answers ready, experience ready. I hopped into the interview and this man never turned his camera on. So at that point, I'm sitting there with my camera off too, comfortable. All the notes on the side of my computer are now in my lap. Okay, cool. But the interview itself was still very tense, very straight to the point, very terse. I can hear his newborn baby in the background, no extra energy, no over smiling, no fake corporate enthusiasm. And when the interview ended, I genuinely did not know what to think. I did not know what to think. I was like, I didn't get that job. But I did know this. I knew I had exactly what they needed. And just for housekeeping's sake, my previous contract ended the second or third week of January. The recruiter reached out to me April 26th, and by May 23rd, boom, big onboarding email. You start tomorrow. She didn't even give me an opportunity. You start tomorrow. I hope you're ready. Okay. Corporate people really do not believe in easing people into things. Now, the real reason I got this role, people already knew my work ethic, my professionalism, my communication style, my reliability, my temperament, my dependability, and companies love familiarity, especially large organizations, because onboarding someone already familiar with the systems, terminology, the workflows, expectations, the cultures, it feels safer. And this is why I tell people all the time, your reputation inside organizations matter a lot. Because when people are discussing you in rooms you're not in and contracts end, people pay attention to your attitude, your professionalism, whether you became bitter, whether you still handled yourself well, because that teaches people your character. Now, take a look at the screen and ask yourself these questions here. Because careers are not always built from applications alone. Sometimes they're built from reputation. And for the people who stayed into the end, the second role was another six-figure contract. And I got it because somebody remembered how I worked. That matters more than people realize. That's why at RAC, we don't just prepare people for interviews. We help people understand how to build professional credibility long-term. Because sometimes your next opportunity is already watching you in your current one. DM RAC to get started. Or reach out at www.rightsresumes.com.
Rack City. What's that on that beat?